What we gonna do with a baby? What we gonna do with a boy? And that's the question I asked myself with a brand new baby, and my husband was deployed overseas. It's like, ah.
I think that a lot of times when parents suddenly become single parents, with all the stress that's on them with having a spouse deployed in a war zone, it's just real easy to say, I can't cope. And sometimes what they need to hear over and over again is, yes, you can.
The way the soldier looks at it is like, hey, I'm doing it for my country. I'm doing it to make sure my kids come up okay and have a safe life. So that's the way we look at it.
When a service member is deployed, one of the challenges that families have is trying to fill in the holes. A parent feels that they have to become the mom and the dad immediately, and what that can do is really burn a parent out.
Do you remember, okay, we've been talking, you know how you're gonna go to your new house and stay there with Daddy, and Mommy's gonna go to Hawaii for a while? And so you'll be there with Daddy and Mommy will be far away, right? We've talked about that. And so while Mommy's gone, if you ever feel like you're alone or like if you want Mommy to be with you, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kiss your hand, just like that. And then if you wish that Mommy was there to kiss you, just put your hand right there on your cheek, just like that. And then be just like Mommy kissing your cheek. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing, kiss my hand. And then when I need a kiss from Janelle, I'll just put it on my cheek. And we'll have our kisses that way.
We really want him to be part of my pregnancy. And we've been recording and taking pictures through the whole pregnancy. And we even record the heartbeats of the baby, and we was emailing to him in the computer so he could hear every little different step of the stage of the pregnancy.
I took pictures of each child individually with him before he left, and I had them hanging at their level.
Letting her talk to me when I called home, just to know my voice and my picture, what I look like.
Today's young people, young families are able to stay more connected with all the technology that we have.
Say hi, Daddy.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Janelle.
Say we miss you, Daddy.
I miss you, Daddy.
I miss you too, honey.
One of the challenges of deployment is that as children continue to develop, the parent who is not present at the home is going to miss some really important things that are just really key and essential to them. So there are a lot of ways in which you can make those experiences be more meaningful for them.
He could call us from his computer, so he could even call prior to and say, hey, I'm gonna be online. On the webcam was a lot easier for her rather than over the phone, because she could see him and she'd kiss the screen. Hi, Daddy, and be kissing and put their hands up, you know, and do that whole thing. And so it was really awesome.
See you, baby.
Kissing the screen.
We'll get back on tonight, okay?
There you go.
You know, a lot of times parents have linking behaviors that they had put into place before they ever deployed. Find a way to keep that visual reminder present in your home so that when that child comes in at the end of the day, like you have, for example, and they've had a success, they can still reenact that very same body language that was present before that service member ever deployed.
He traced his hand on just a notebook piece of paper and in the middle wrote, "High five, Janelle." And so we put that up on the refrigerator, and every once in a while she'd walk by and slap it, and that was her little high five to Daddy.
I came up with this idea that we should go get the bears from Build-A-Bear, and my husband recorded a message in them. And it was really amazing to watch it, but not even the little ones, of course, loved it. But my older ones, I would hear them after I put them in bed, and they'd play it, and it was very heartbreaking to hear it, to see that they really did want to stay in touch with him.
Good night, Heather. I hope you're a good girl for Mommy today. Daddy loves you and misses you.
Several of the things that we see in young children when a service member deploys is a regression in their behaviors.
Doesn't matter how young the child is, all the emotions that the mother or the father, depends on the case, feels pass it on to the child.
Janelle was screaming and Kayla was screaming and I was about to pull my hair out, and I called my mother and I cried to her and said, I can't do this, I just can't. And expecting her to say, I'll come and help you, or we'll send Nana or something, and she said, I'm sorry, honey, you have to. And so at that point I said, well then talk to Janelle on the phone. And I just went into my room and cried, got it all out, got over it, came out, thanked my mother and hung up the phone. And from then on it was almost like I just kept hearing my mother say, I'm sorry, honey, you have to. And so moments like that just never really got that bad again.
If I feel myself getting too stressed out, the children can always tell. And for me, they either get truly irritated or they're crying a lot. And that's just when you have to take a time out and just stop and be a kid and laugh with them, watch a movie with them, tickle them, and just say, you know what, all the things that I'm going through aren't that important.
Those children will sense immediately the amount of stress that you are experiencing, and it will become reflected in their behavior, which will then make you feel as if you're not being an adequate enough parent.
When my husband was away at one point, Josiah was probably about 2 years old, and it was time for him to go from the 2-year-old classroom to the 3-year-old classroom, and the daycare provider told me, no, I have to see more from him. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? And that's when she told me that the different behaviors he was displaying, as far as he was laying all day under the crib, he wasn't interacting with the other kids, and it really hurt me because I felt like, okay, what's wrong with my child?
Your child is feeling somewhat out of control. Their world's been turned upside down when a parent leaves. And they need to remember it's not a battle with dad or with mom. It's I want to be in control of something in my world right now.
They didn't accept it, the change in routine at first. They were really angry, especially my middle one, Blaine. He's the rebel, and he was very upset that Daddy wasn't there to get him dressed at night, and he was very upset that Daddy wasn't there to tuck him in at night.
Your role as a parent is to reassure them that even though things have changed, Dad is gone or Mom is gone, you need to go ahead and establish these routines.
With my son, we try to stick to the same exact routine because it helps him realize that, you know, things are normal, things are not different. Yes, you know, Daddy's gone. However, you know, Mommy's still here. We still have to live our lives. We still have to do what we do until he comes home. And it helps so much to keep him on that routine.
Moms need to realize that they have to take care of themselves first, or they can't take care of anybody else in the family.
There will be times when you want to just do it all. You want to have the perfect face for everyone. You want to do well at your job, be the perfect mom. Have the perfect children, but it's not real. There are no such things as a super mom or a superwoman. You just have to realize that you're a normal, everyday woman and do the best you can to get through it and take it one day at a time. Find out what it is that you enjoy doing and don't neglect those things. I would write poetry. I didn't judge myself based on what it might be that would come out. Some thoughts were good, some were evident that I was stressed out at that particular time or just feeling alone and lonely without him being there. But that was a very healthy way for me to express what I was feeling, especially when there were moments when I felt like I couldn't tell those things to someone else.
Trying to get really stressed, and unfortunately the kids are the ones who are always there. And when I started just, you know, getting to where it was like, stop it, I need time, just stop. That's when I knew, okay, that's it. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna get my nails done and my hair cut, and by the time I go pick him up, I'm going to feel so much better about myself that things are gonna be good.
You do get to the point where you have to ask, and you have to feel less guilty about accepting help.
So I put all their numbers and my close friends on the refrigerator. So when I really need them, I just got it there. I don't have to be looking for a phone book or looking for a number on the cell phone. We have a big group of friends that we get together most every weekend. And most of all, we are single moms because most of our husbands are deployed. So this day you take it for yourself, and that day I take it for myself. And sometimes we even go to a spa and we take a relaxation time because we really need it when we are by ourselves.
For the kids to get that nurturing, it makes them feel, I think, that even in this whole whirlwind of everything that's going on and a parent is gone and mommy works full time and we go to daycare every day, that there's still time for me, that I'm still important enough, that everything else stops for a little bit so that we can cuddle, or so that we get that book read. I think that they need that for their feeling of importance in the family.
Nurturing is an all-the-time activity. And what is really important is for parents to recognize that if you can display your love for your child as much as possible, it means more than any of the things that you go to the store to buy.
Small activities are wonderful, that you can think, children are easy to please. They don't care, just a walk, just go for a swing, just go pick up leaves, go pick up pine cones. Something very small, inexpensive, doesn't have to be extravagant.
On nights when we had pizza, I put a blanket on the floor and we'd eat in the living room. It allows them to see me as, you know, fun, as, you know, not necessarily by the book or structured. It allowed her to just get quality mommy time, and with the babies being little, they were able to be right there and with us.
Is he having dinner?
No, I think he's gonna have lunch.
That's lunch. Okay, what is it?
It's a honey pot.
It's a honey pot. What's in the honey pot?
Honey.
Honey. Hey, why don't you count these for me? Okay. Well, we have big blue couch time. And what that is we sit in our other room on our big blue couch and we talk about whatever it is he wants to talk about. Whether it's the cartoon he's watching, what he had for lunch, what his nanny did, whatever.
I came off the plane, was one of the first people off the plane, and she just ran up and grabbed my leg, which kind of surprised me, because everything I'd heard going into this is your youngest children are gonna not know who you are.
It's a funny feeling. You know you weren't there for the birth. You're coming back, you're a stranger somewhat to your child. He's never seen you. I mean, for me, I wanted to feel and make sure everything was right. I wanted everything to be perfect.
I always showed him pictures of Daddy. Even when I was pregnant, we would, when he called from overseas, we would put the phone to my belly and he'd talk to him.
And it's rough on us too. It's really rough, as you can imagine, on the soldier.
I went from the Hindu Kush Mountains to my living room in like 36 hours. I was really excited. I wanted to get home and see everybody, but I was getting even more nervous and I didn't know how my kids would take me.
What I did in preparing the kids for his return was I showed them pictures of Daddy. I had picture books, little picture albums made for them with his picture in there, blankets, a quilt with his picture on there.
This little child that wants lots of attention and he wants some reassurance. His world has once again been turned upside down. It flipped when Dad left. Then they established a routine, life was fine, and now this person's come back into the house again. And as dad or mother takes back their roles, the child is trying to figure out, where is my role in all of this? What am I supposed to be doing? So your child may act out a little bit. And both parents need to realize that this is perfectly normal.
The child feels stronger emotions at that point because the father comes back, and the fear is for them that when he at the end of the day, Daddy is not going to be home again.
You go through a honeymoon period. Everything is good. You're kind of floating on air. You don't want to say anything to offend one another. And then you get to the point where, okay, we're starting to get comfortable with each other now. I have to share the remote, things like that. It's not as much fun as it was in the beginning. So you have to find a balance and just take time and know that you have to start to renegotiate the roles.
For me, it was, honestly, it was kind of rough. I knew how it was going to be, you know, and I didn't want to come back and try to cause any type of confusion. So I was able to sit back in that role and just let her run with it, and actually she did a great job.
I want to say, as far as my wife and I getting acclimated back together, I want to say it was a couple months. We scheduled a lot of stuff away for the summer. We were gone for 3 or 4 weeks in the summer after I returned. My intent for wanting to do that was that we wouldn't sit here and focus on the things around the house, that we would spend more time as a family as opposed to get caught up in all the day-to-day things.
I think the whole thing just gave us a time to get exactly back to who we were.
When he first left, I was just counting down the days, like I can't wait for him to be home, and I was just so excited, and it got closer and closer. But then when it got to about a week or two before he actually came home, I started feeling really nervous and really scared. Like, I thought maybe I felt like I was bringing a stranger into the house.
All of a sudden I'm thrust back into the father-husband trying to run the things roll. I barked out a lot of orders, you know, telling her do this, do that, and she wasn't having it because she'd been running the show for so long, and it took probably a couple months before I was totally back, you know, just like it was before.
If men or women could get off of a plane after 15 months of being in a war zone and walk right back into their house and act exactly the same, they wouldn't be men or women, they would be robots.
You would never imagine the different things that you learn during those times that are positives. And just be willing to share the good things, not only the bad things, but just be willing to grow and to learn from the experience.